Hi guys, thank you for being interested in this tutorial, which today I'm going to talk about my tips and kind of like way of how I handle my files and handing them off to the developers. I know and I'm aware of the fact that each team has or each company, each team has their own way of, I don't know, working methods, processes, and so on. So again, I believe it can change and you can hear some different opinions about how to do what, but anyway, this is my way. Okay, so first of all, tip number even zero, okay? I have tip number one, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I will show them later. That is even the number zero before them all, is the way that your elements are structured, which is very important and something to put a high attention to. Let me show you an example, okay? These two screens actually visually, if you see them, they are identical. I mean, you don't see any difference at all. It's just kind of like a screen that I built for this tutorial, but it doesn't matter, okay? Now, check this out. Here you see workouts, okay? Double click on the first component, you see workout. Let me put this, like make it wider. Okay, so that's a workout type card. Okay, so that's a content card basically, which has an image, it has a title, kind of the estimated duration of the practice, and this button. Okay, so double click, you see that's the image. Hitting the button, you see card action button. Okay, that's the word go, and this is the frame which holds the icon. By the way, I always put my icons inside frames, okay, because today it's this one, next day it can be a different icon, and here is the chevron right icon. Okay, good. Now if you look at this file, okay, and I see that happening a lot when I'm getting, files from other designers and seeing it happen like a lot of times. Look at that. This is frame 6. No name. You don't really understand what is this component, what is this element. The name doesn't hint anything about what it is. Double click on it, you see a group 7. Why is it in a group? Another double click, it's in a frame 5. Another double click, it's in a frame 4. Another double click, it's in a group 6, and so on and so on. I mean, guys, this is terrible, okay? This, if there is something that confuses the programmers, the developers, okay, slash, same thing. If there is something that is really confusing, is getting materials like that. I mean, look at this button, okay? This button, look at that. Look how many double clicks I go into it. It's a frame. It doesn't matter if it's a component or not, by the way, for the sake of this example. It's a frame 12. It doesn't have a name, okay? Inside a frame 12, there is a group 1. And inside a group 1, inside a group 1, there's a frame 2, and there's another group, and there's another frame. And you know what? I see, you'll be maybe surprised, but I see a lot of files are structured like that. Bottom line, and my main point is, keep your elements structured in the right way and as minimal as they should be. Okay, I mean, this is precise. You have the content card. Inside the content card, you have the card action button. The card action button opens up, you see the text, you see the frame that holds the icon and the icon. Perfect. That's the way it should be structured, and that's it. Okay, and then you have that text, which actually can be named as label, and you can just change the text there. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it changes anyway when you write another text into it, but that's okay. Workout, the workout name, which is actually the workout title. If I would be even more precise, that should be the workout title. Okay, and that's of course the image. Okay, meaning like I can put here, by the way, workout title. Actually, I can do that from the component, and that's the image, which is workout image actually. So anyway, okay, this is like a really understandable structure. You see, that's the status bar. You have the title, okay, page title, by the way, workout, which holds all the other content cards, and you have the bottom nav slash home, because the home is selected, okay, like that. When the developer gets this file, everything is pretty much understandable, okay. He understands from the names of the elements, each one of them, what are they actually doing, okay. So that's good. You can also put, as yeah, you can put the components on the side. It really depends if you have a design system, kind of like one library, main library with your design system, and all the components are there. Or sometimes you can even actually, for each flow, you can put the components that are relevant to this specific flow, okay. And then you can publish them all as, all the libraries of one team actually are together as one team library, okay. So you can do it like that. It depends really on the on actually the scale of the project, okay. It depends what's there. So as you see, components used, these are all the components that are used. They're just kind of like demo components. They don't really mean anything, okay, but just kind of like to show how it is. I have here a bunch. They can be 20, 30, 100, 150, okay, and they can be kind of like aside to the flows, or you can put them in a separate page, as I said, that holds all the components which are used in the project, okay. So that's like a bigger design system. And again, even in big ones, I do sometimes put the components used in this specific file. I can even flash them out here for the programmers to be kind of like understand quickly which components are used here. So that's good. Arranging my files, or my screens actually, more precise to say my frames. So some product flow sections title, you see they get a title for each flow, for each bunch of screens which are actually do something together, okay. It doesn't matter, prototyping wise, they can be hooked up and continue to here if I want to, but I'm saying that when it's a big product, dividing it to different flows and different bunch of screens that are doing something together, I think it's very clear and really clarifies the picture on that, okay. But again, it depends on the scale of the product. Sometimes the whole application can have this number of screens and that's it. So maybe you don't have to kind of like categorize them, which is pretty obvious from the content which is on the screens. So I'm just saying, of course, this is only an example. You can have another, I don't know, 5-10 flows in this file, or sometimes you can even divide them to different pages, meaning page 1, for example, can be login flow, just for example, okay. I can have a page 2 which will be the search and search results, okay. So you can have it like that, and you can divide it to different pages. And sometimes, again, that's also a good and right way to do that, okay. The more important thing is, beside how you divide your content on the screen, on the file actually, is making clear for the programmers while you work some product flow / in work. That's the way I do it, to make it very clear to the developers. I say one-time programmers, one-time developers, we all know it means the same. Anyway, make it very clear to them that something that this is still in work and it's not ready to be handed off. But the good thing is that they already see, of course, these are all only demo screens, you understand that, yeah? I mean, the content here doesn't really matter. So they already see kind of like what's up ahead, and if they already have some highlights or some maybe I don't know, some notes they want to take about it, or they want to highlight your eyes about something which they think that maybe is not done in the right way, and they do know stuff and they have opinions as well, of course. So they can just see that and tell you that, which is good. You can also do it like that. I mean, you can put like here kind of like a section title. Again, depends on the scale of the product. And then you can have a bunch of flows here. And you can have another section title beside it and a bunch of flows here. Okay. The main thing is basically what I'm trying to say here is that the titles and statuses like that are making it very clear to the developers like what is going on in the file, and this is very important. Okay, I'll give my tips now and then you'll understand kind of like what do I mean. And as I said, another thing to mention, to be mentioned actually, some people, and I accept that, I mean, each one in his own working methods, his own way of doing things, and that's okay. I mean, you know, each company develops kind of like working methods during time. So some people do a different page, okay, a separate page which is production ready, and then they kind of throw all the ready to develop designs there, and it's being taken from there. Personally, I don't work like that. I think that it's, I don't know, it can be a bit confusing in my opinion. And then sometimes you kind of like lose control. You're not really, I mean, you have to go to this page all the time and check what is there and if this is the right version. And then if you design something new, you have to go and change it with the one that is already there and so on. I mean, I like it less, but I do accept that some people work in this way, and that's fine. If it works for them, then great. I'm not against it. I'm just saying that I personally don't like to work like that. This is more the way that I work. Okay, and then the programmers know that whatever is like you know, if it's just some product flow, or for example, as I said, this is, I don't know, login flow. Okay, so that's it. They know that if there's no red in work beside it, then they can just go ahead and do that. Anyway, we're working with Jira tickets and so on, so they already have links to whatever they need to. So anyway, if it's not linked to a Jira ticket, probably and usually it's not ready yet, or some kind of, I don't know, a place that we run our work. That's how a lot, in a lot of teams it works. But anyway, so that's kind of that. Another thing which I can do, by the way, I didn't show the link sharing thing before the tips. I will give it now. So share links, okay. I mean, to share the link to this file. So I have another user which I use just for the sake of this tutorial. So you just put the email here. You can decide only people invited to this file, or anyone with a link and a password, or anyone with a link, meaning that you can just copy the link here. If you put it on anyone with a link, you can just copy this link, throw it in email or wherever you are to whoever you want, and that's it. Okay, so let's leave it on only people invited to this file, and let's see how the programmer actually sees that from his eyes. Okay, so let's go back here, and I'm gonna switch a user. Okay, this is my other user, and yeah, and I'm gonna go inside this file. Actually, sorry, I have to close this one and now double click on this, and now you will see how the developer, by the way, if you noticed or not, it's a can view mode. Okay, usually the developers, they don't need the permission to edit 99% of the cases, they don't really need to. Okay. And they will not even ask for it. I mean, what for? Okay. For them, it's just not necessary. So you see that when I'm in can view mode, so you see I have the move tool, I have the hand tool, I can write a comment, I mean I can leave a comment of course to anything I want. I can go to the inspect panel, okay, inspect, and I can just hit any element on the screen and get all the specs to whatever I need. I can see distances between them. If I select this card and I put my mouse here, so I can see that the distance between them is 20 pixels. I mean, how great is that? Just I get all the info just from here. I can click on this one, or more right click on this one, and I can just export it if I want to. I can export it probably as an SVG. Okay, I can even export a JPEG, PNG, PDF. I mean, what for? But if you need it, then why not? So anyway, as a programmer as well, I can export all the stuff that I need straight from here. Okay, so that's what I see in a can view only mode, and you see, and I get that. And by the way, I can hit the play, okay, which I will show soon. What did I do here? I can hit the play and I can see the prototype. Okay, so I can do that. Okay, great. Now, yeah, basically, I mean, link wise, okay, this is basically all there's to it, but I'm gonna show you another thing. Let me close that and let me switch back to my editor user. Okay, and now actually, okay, so a lot of times if I want to link them to a specific page, because what happens is that basically when you give a link to a file, they can go, I mean, again, I mean the developers or the programmers or whoever you share the link with, they can go to each page that they want, and I don't know, just kind of like a travel inside the file to wherever they want, whatever they want to see, and that's okay. But you can click on a page, okay, I'm clicking on a page for example, and copy link to the page, meaning I can give a link, I can send a link which is specifically or links them exactly to this page or any page that I want. More than that, sometimes I give link if I get kind of like if it's a Jira ticket or any place that the team actually is running its work. So you can click on a frame and actually copy paste as copy link. You can send a link, meaning you can link someone from an external link. He can click on it and get this in his frame. I mean, it links him exactly to here. Okay, so that means that he gets to this frame, and of course he starts seeing all the flow and whatever that there is here. Okay, so we can link to a file, we can link to a page in the file, and we can link to a specific frame, which is practically really great. Okay, good. So that's all the linking stuff, and now to my tips. Okay, good tips. If it's possible, it's not always possible, but when and if it's possible, I mean, involve the developers in what you are doing and let them know what they are about to get. Okay, the sooner the better. Prevent the what is that, we can't do that. So imagine after you finished your designs and then suddenly the programmers, they come and they say, him or them, they say, hey, listen, we can't do that. Okay, so then it's not pleasant to get back to your designs and redesign it, re-UX it, re-UI it, and all that. So instead of that, maybe it's better to be like that. It's so funny, this emoji. But anyway, so it can be like that also. When I say it's not always possible, because sometimes, and it did happen to me as well, working as a freelance. So I'm with the client, I'm UXing it and UIing it, and like it's all ready and done, but he didn't decide who are the developers yet. So then the hooking up with the developer things kind of like happens a bit after I'm done. And then, okay, so we have some ping pongs between us and some correctings and stuff. But basically, sometimes I'm just saying. So again, when you work in a team and you have regular developers that you work with, so you can make it happen and it's good. Explain on the file wherever you think it can end up being not understandable enough. Think about minimizing the ping pongs, okay, the back and forth between you and the devs. And let me show you an example of things that I do and how do I work. So here, look at this for. It's kind of like, it doesn't connect to anything here, but I'm just giving an example. Okay, so check this out. On error, if there are more input fields below it, the error message pushes the fields down and keeps the same form spacing. Okay, it doesn't use the space between the input fields. Okay, this is a behavior that I want to make clear to the programmers, like how this form is behaving. Okay, if there's an error message below the field, even if it will actually be 2 lines, for example, okay, so then also it pushes, you see, it pushes the other fields down, and it doesn't use the space between the fields. So again, if I want to make it clear, it's great to put it like that. It just makes it much more clear. Okay, for example, and 1 second, let's go to the third one. Okay, be clear on what is ready for production and what is not. So we already went through that. So this is how I make it clear. Some folks even make kind of like a button, with variants, like in progress, done, not started yet, and all that. So we can do that as well. You can do that as well, and you can use kind of like a, I don't know, a component which sits here or here, and then you can just switch it to the right state. So that's also a great way to do that, and that's okay. Demonstrate screens and components behavior by prototyping. Okay, it's part of the user's experience design, like what kind of animation, what's the duration in the animation, the easing, and so on. So what I'm trying to say is that I use a lot of prototyping to show the programmers exactly how do I want the elements to behave on the screen and the transitions between the screens, sorry. So I think it's very important, and if you leave it to the interpretation of the programmer, you show him the starting point and the end point, you cannot expect it to happen exactly like what's in your head, because he doesn't read your minds. For example, let me give you like a very, very small example, but it kind of like makes the point. Okay, so here I write to the programmer, click on the frame and hit the play. Tap on the search bar to see its opening animation, and this is how I'm making it clear to them how do I want it to happen. Let me give you 2 different examples. Okay, I hit the play. I am the developer now. No, sorry, I just want to show you the difference. Okay, one time, let's say that I don't say anything to the developer, and he decides that he wants a dissolve animation on the 2. He sees, by the way, let me show you. Okay, he sees the 2 states. Okay, he goes to the component. He sees the 2 states of the component, but it's with no prototyping, and he actually doesn't know how do I want it to animate. So he decides that a dissolve transition is great for him. So if he makes a dissolve transition, it's going to be like showing the bar, hitting not showing the bar, which is okay. It's not a disaster, but it's not exactly what I want, how I want the component to behave on the screen. I want it like that. Okay, I want it with an animation, with an opening animation. Just a very tiny example. So if I don't do that and I don't show it to the programmer, so he doesn't know. He just does whatever seems right for him. Okay, so that's something which I think is very, I mean, I prototype everything I can and make things very uh, clear and kind of like pointing the programmers exactly to the screen behaviors that I want, or how I want my designs to behave animation wise. Okay, tip number 5, bottom line. Okay, if I take all the things that I've said here, try to put yourself in the place of the developer and think, is your file understandable and self-explanatory? Okay, meaning think yourself as the developer, you enter this file, okay, is everything clear to you? Is everything understandable? Do you think that you can kind of like, go ahead with this file and do your work with no mistakes? So that's how you need to think. And I think that basically these are my main tips of handing off to the developers. And practically, yeah, I think that that's about it. It's kind of a short tutorial, but again, as I'm telling you, start always with structuring your elements and your screens in the right way. Give them the right names, the right structure, and don't do kind of like unnecessary frames and groups and other elements which are not needed in your files, and that is already great start. Okay, before you even go to all the other ones. What happened here? Where did you come from? Okay, so another thing that I would like to mention, okay, I've seen kind of like a lot of people, I would say, that are drawing the spaces and the distances between the elements and how many this and how many that. And honestly speaking, there is no need for that at all. Okay, don't even go there, don't touch that. In my opinion, it is so redundant, so unnecessary. I mean, I don't understand why people are actually do that. This is what the inspect tab is exactly for. That's what it does, and to save us the time not to have to deal with that. Okay, you see, I'm putting my mouse, I see all the spaces to any element that I want, and I see exactly how it's built. And again, I didn't go in this tutorial not to design system or how I put my elements on the file, because this is not a design tutorial. This is a tutorial which talks about handing off my designs to the developers, and I think that I gave all the good tips for you guys to do that, regardless what you have in your design on your screen. So yeah, kind of like I thought that would be important to say that. But anyway, you don't need to draw spaces, you don't need to specify sizes of elements. It is so unnecessary. One click and that's it, you have it all there. So there's no need to do that. I mean, what for? Why should we waste time on it if there is really no need for it? I just thought it's important to mention, because I saw that in like a lot of tutorials people are doing that, and I'm asking myself like, why? What's the sense of doing that? Anyway, and I'm really great with everyone that makes tutorials, of course. I mean, like, they're all great tutorials. Of course, each one has his own great tips, but I'm just saying that this is really, in my opinion, so unnecessary. That's it, guys. I've said my words. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. I hope it was helpful, and I'm always here for any questions. If you want me to go over something which you think I didn't, or if I forgot something, you can, of course, write me a comment, and I'm always very happy to answer any questions. And if I have to do another tutorial about anything that you want, I mean, any tutorial that you want me to do, I will with pleasure. So just write me and tell me. I would be very happy for your like if you like this tutorial. I would be more than happy if you subscribe to my channel if you are not already. Thanks a lot and see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.